wind calm, temperature 24 Celsius, dew point 19 Celsius, altimeter 3024.
Clear prop!
Lakeway 75, you must be 2 miles to the south, right in the pattern, final call, Lakeway.
Lakeway, Yellow Cub 54 Alpha is 4 miles in from the west. Going to enter a downwind leg, 6 Lakeway.
Lakeway traffic, Sierra 3 Charlie Delta, departing runway 34 to the north, Lakeway.
There's a reason for the sunshine sky, and there's a reason why I'm flying so high. Must be the season when that bright sky shines, and the whole world feels the love. So let that beauty grab you deep inside. Let it take you up real high. Don't you fight it now. Just let it fly you high. Let your love fly free, like a river winds. Let your love fly free over the hills and the lakes below. Let your love be seen, and you'll know the sign. It's your season now. It's your season now. There's a reason for the porch light glow. There's a reason that the blue bonnets grow. Must be the time when the dark slows down and your heart.
What do you know about what was here before there was a runway here? What was it like here? What was going on here?
Well, it was just mostly cedars. There was a lot of open ground. I know that there were some people out here that were trying to ranch or doing some ranching. Probably mostly goats or something of that nature. That they had a corral or some kind of a horse corral somewhere up here. It was where one of the houses are up off of Dasher. There was some area over there that had some corrals and stuff, but it was just a grass strip. I don't know what they used it for other than maybe to get into town or just to get supplies or whatever.
Air flight was very important to the history of Lakeway going back to the early 1900s. In fact, the first airstrip in Lakeway was on the Clifton George Ranch.
If you were to take a guess, what do you think the reason is someone would take the time and energy to create a runway in the 1930s on their ranch?
I think that somebody had an airplane. I think that the guy, whoever owned the ranch, was interested in aviation and probably had an airplane or wanted to get an airplane, and they built the grass strip so that he could go around and do things, and they could probably look at the ranch and look at different things around the ranch to make sure that it was everything was going well.
That's over 100 years ago. People have been flying in and out of Lakeway.
And what do you think the reason is that the runway is located here and not, a mile from here? Why would this be the place? Is there something special about this location, or is
I think it was one of the flatter places they could find, because it's really, if you look around, they knew where, I think they originally knew where 620 was going to be, or at least it was here, and they wanted to have that kind of off to the side a little bit, and this was kind of relatively flat compared to some of it.
So I'm here with Mr. and Mrs. Malloy, Eric and Kim, and the little baby is
Audrey.
I did my first visit to the Lakeway Airpark back in 1980, maybe 4 or 5, while I was in college.
Yeah.
Had a friend that lived out here, and he brought me here for a weekend, and I saw the airpark. I'm like, that's where I'm going to be.
Well, we moved here, we bought the house in April of 2003.
We moved here in 1989, next door. This house wasn't here. But after a year, we decided this is it. So we moved everything down, built a house here after 3 years. It's bigger than it should be, but we love it. And all of a sudden, Charles Edwards and myself, we decided we'd like to have a Yak 52.
We've known Eric Malloy for years, and we actually were over at his house, which the first time we had been to Lakeway Airpark. And I said, boy, I would really like to live here. And Phil was like, yeah, this would be great.
Oh, I thought it was fabulous. I loved all the airplanes, just watching them taking rides over the lake. It was just a Lakeway staple. Oh, what's the airplane that Mike Collier used to bring in here?
Oh, the P-63.
P-63. That was one of my favorites.
Yeah, beautiful airplane.
And then we had one that was kind of a blue camouflage. What was that airplane?
That was a T-34.
The T-34.
Yeah.
Just so fun. Yeah. So we've had some fun airplanes around here.
We also used to own, we've had 2 different Globe Swifts, and we would keep those here at the house. And they're kind of works of art deco from the 1940s.
So we came over here that day, looked at the house, went back over to Eric's house and wrote a contract because we were sold.
P-51, P-38, and biplanes and stuff like that, yeah.
Walkos.
Yeah, Walkos and Stearmans.
Yeah.
Well, my old man was a fighter pilot in the Air Force, so I thought I thought every kid had an airplane in the backyard. So that was kind of the vision I had when I got into tech, even, was that I would use aircraft to further the business and to do all that.
Well, it's sort of like living with all your best friends. I mean, and that's what we are. We're an aviator community. We all have similar hobby, but you've got people who are willing to help on anything, and a very social place to live, and we just really enjoy the people here more than anything else.
So we bought them, they were brand new. They put them in crates in Romania, shipped them, got here, and we built them, put them back together out here in the hangar. And my instructor that went with me, he got checked out first, was Lefty Gardner.
Oh, yeah.
Which is famous for the P-38 and the P-51.
Right.
Yeah, and a lot of the clients that I fly, they love Kim, so they're like, she can ride along. So
kind of nice.
We get I don't know, Cabo. We've done Cabo, Bahamas a couple of times.
Key West.
Oh yeah, did a week in Key
I
West.
tend to go to the fun places.
Yeah.
When they brought the airplanes here, it was a party here every night, putting those airplanes together. Well, first they did Charles's and then Jimmy's, but we didn't know who all was going to show up here. And Charles's wife, Linnell, at the time, she and I fixed dinner every night for whoever showed up. to work on the airplane. It was a big party. We had fun doing all that.
It's funny, as I've met some of the folks from the local community, they all talk about the airpark, even if they're not pilots. If they have kids, they talk about the airpark as being one of the things that they just love, coming on a Saturday morning to watch the airplanes. And living here, there are no strangers. We all know each other. It's really tight-knit, a pretty tight-knit community.
Living a really blessed life as a pilot and being able to, for many years I lived in the hills of Lakeway, prior to that in Lakeway proper, and to have an airplane, 5 minutes from your house.
We're being more respected with our community, and I love the Meet the Pilot thing that we have going on here. And as people are hearing about it, they're showing up, and I think that it's great. It's great. Yeah, people appreciate the airpark.
That's awesome. What airplane did she solo in?
It was a little 172. Yeah, it was one that had been here on the field a little while, and one of the owners of it had decided to put flame decals on it, which not something you really want to put on an airplane. Anyway, yeah, so she soloed here and got her license here, and like I said, I'm sure both of her daughters will end up getting their licenses here.
When I had the Cub, actually, and even the Archer and the F-33, I had, the ability to come over here anytime after work. I would take the Cub out 5 or 6 times a week after work and fly around the lake, and it might be a 20-minute flight.
I have been in Lakeway since 2003. Moved specifically to Lakeway. I visited 5 different airports in the area. I knew I wanted to live with a plane, so did research on 5 different airports, visited Spicewood, Horseshoe Bay, Cross Country Estates, Lago Vista, and then finally landed here in Lakeway, Texas.
And the latest, one of the most latest impressive airplanes I watch come and go are the Cirrus Jet. And, they're quite impressive to watch them take off from here.
Airplanes are time machines, and Americans value their time, I think, more than any other society. And general aviation allows you to go point to point to a small airport right where you need to be, without the hassles of highways and speed limits and all that kind of stuff. And it literally compresses the country and makes everything in the country accessible.
And there was a group of us here actually that did that for a while, that all had Cubs, and it was just tons of fun. And I had a lot of time, solo in the plane, just not really going anywhere, but just recreational flying.
Up until the point that we travel quite a bit as a family in the 206. It's been a great, marvelous time machine, I call it. And they think I'm totally ridiculous until we get stranded and TSA gives us a hard time and we get to do what we do as pilots and travel across the countryside. It's wonderful.
So tell me about the formation of Lakeway, the founding of Lakeway.
Well, all I know is that there was a group of people that got together and came out here, and some of them thought that they were crazy, but they decided that this would be a great place because it had hill country, it had the lake right here, and they decided to build the inn and form a development called Lakeway. And when they did that, it was a lot of people didn't want a loan of money. A lot of people thought they were kind of crazy, but it started out and they took off like wildfire. They wanted to bring people in from Dallas and Houston to buy property, and that was one of the ways to get them in here. So.
We're here by one of the artifacts that we have. It shows a plane flying over the pool of the Lakeway Inn when it opened back in 1963.
And eventually they extended it. It was actually about 3,000 feet to start with, and they extended it another 1,000 feet.
Terry, yeah.
And Terry, what are you doing this morning here at the airport?
I'm standing around with a vest-looking official. You don't have to pay if you got a vest on.
And what do you expect this morning? What are we doing today?
I'm expecting a mob of kids interested in airplanes, we hope.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
And kids hungry for a donut.
We have donuts.
Yes.
A donut.
How many did you have?
Because we want to see the planes, because some planes are landing.
Jay Beard.
Austin Hart. Hey, first name's Bill, last name Gunn.
My name's Lou Doolin.
Sarah McLoon.
TJ McLean.
My name is Isabel. Ashley Juliet. Letty. Ariana Cobb. I'm Yara.
Claire.
Samantha.
Sebastian.
Logan Brown and Jeremy Nolan. Let's start over again.
Okay. Mr. Finch.
Yes, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And what's going on today? What's happening here at the airport?
Well, today is one of our Meet the Pilot events, and we have an open house here where we let the community come in, look at the airplanes, meet the pilots, learn about aviation, and just generally have a really good time.
I brought in the Skyhawk 172. I come to Lakeway quite often, and we have a hangar in Granite Shoals up at Lake LBJ. Well, the Lakeway Airpark is an airpark community. Everybody here are flyers, has a nice runway, a great instrument approach, and just a lot of fun people and fun airplanes.
What are you doing today?
I am enjoying the airpark at Lakeway. It is a festive occasion put on by the host hospitality committee, and they do a bang-up job.
Yeah.
We're here with our neighbors. Kids love seeing the airplanes.
Being on a plane is really cool because you get to fly, and that's something that not many people can experience.
Okay. How many times would you guess you've been here?
Oh, at least probably 10 to 15, especially during COVID. It was a good escape.
Awesome. And kids, what do you guys like about the airpark?
The planes. Seeing planes come in and out.
Awesome.
And they let you sit in them, right?
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
How are you?
Good morning, Josh. It's ready.
There's an open house from the spring till the fall where kids can come and meet a pilot, perhaps crawl into an airplane, get their first lesson, gently moving the controls.
Right.
And you just never will know how many lives are being touched, occupations are being groomed.
And we are here with two beautiful women. You are?
Gretchen, the airport. Mindy Beatty.
Very nice to meet you. And what brings you to the airpark today?
We came to see all of the airplanes and the cars and the motorcycle and all of the wonderful people that are here having
Awesome.
a good time.
And Mindy, what's your favorite plane so far that you like?
Oh, I like that jet that came in earlier.
My wife said the same thing.
Yeah.
The airpark is such a great part of the community. It's really great. I have young kids. I have a 9 and a 6-year-old. My son's interested in piloting now. And
I would like to, preserve the airpark, the way it is, make sure it's available for future generations. I think it's part of what makes the city unique, is that we have an airpark right here in the middle of the city, and I would love for that to be available for future generations.
Sam, are you interested in flying?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
My mom, she was a flight instructor. My dad is a commercial flying captain.
And what about you, Terry? You were a flight instructor. How long ago did you do that?
20 years.
Wow. Did you enjoy it?
No kidding.
Of course. Yeah.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
What brings you out today?
Airplanes.
Airplanes and cars.
So, yeah, I really like it, and people, they can come and they can fly around the neighborhood and they can express themselves with their plane.
For being here with us today. Julie, can you just tell me what brought you here today and what's interesting to Lakeway Airpark for AOPN?
Okay, so I'm a writer for AOPA Pilot Magazine. So we launched a series with the last issue. We launched a series called Living with Your Airplane. Sue Durio, who's one of your residents, she sold a story to me. She pitched a story.
What is your opinion about the value of general aviation? Why do you think general aviation is important to our country?
Well, I think it's kind of threefold, and coming from my perspective, as a non-aviation person who came into AOPA and has learned aviation and learned to love it, my first thing is that it's just a joyful avocation. But my second thing is it's protecting the freedom to be able to do what we all love to do. For people to be able to enjoy their passion with the freedoms that we should be allowed to have. So advocating for people who are interested in aviation and saying, you should join AOPA because they're going to take care of what you are enjoying and love. So that would be my one thing. Let's all advocate for aviation.
Thank you for being here today.
Sure.
We really
Great
appreciate
fun.
your visit.
Yeah.
And Isabel, how old are you?
I am 21 years old.
And I heard that you might be getting your pilot's license?
Yes, sir. I just started my training
In what kind of airplane?
in a Cessna 172.
Okay, and so far, how's it going?
So far, it's great. I've been loving it. I'm very excited to finish my journey and keep flying.
Oh, just a fun weekend for the kids. Come out here, see some airplanes, see the, my daughter said she wanted to be a pilot, and it's very, worked out well for the weekend.
We were talking to this guy over here who said he ordered this plane, ordered a kit, came in boxes and put it together, so
that's right.
May need to go home and shop a little bit.
And Letty, why are you here today?
To support our community and to check out these airplanes.
Awesome. And who are you?
Ariana Cobb.
Awesome. And why are you here today?
You know why I'm here.
All right, Grumpy.
How you doing?
Good. What do you like about airplanes most?
Chicken runs.
Chicken runs. Chicken runs. Olivia, why are you here today?
Because you asked me to be.
And what have you been helping out so far?
With my plane and putting little kids in it.
Awesome. And where's your plane?
Right there.
Oh, there it is. Beginning, let's say the 1960s and the 1970s, what kind of airplanes were coming in and out of here?
Mostly single engine. I doubt there was many twins coming in. In fact, I was out here, I actually came over to the airport in the early 1970s, and there was 172s, 182s, maybe a Beechcraft Bonanza, maybe a Piper or something, but there wasn't a whole lot out here. It was pretty much just small singles, maybe a small twin. Oh, it was very different because all there was a runway and a shack, and there really wasn't anything. It was pretty rough asphalt at that point in time, but it was there wasn't a big ramp area. There was what was there. The original ramp was there, but there wasn't as much of it.
First time I came to this airpark was 1968. There was nothing here. It was a gravel runway. It had been an old ranch runway. There were no shacks, there were no hangars, no buildings, no asphalt, no anything. It was just a flat place to land airplanes. I don't think it was even a declared airport.
I've been living here in Lakeway on and off since about 1971. This was always one of the stops on the tour. Look, we have our own little air park here, but back in those days, in '71 anyway, Admiral Shepard lived here, and he was still working, so he was still in Houston. And we could always tell if he was here in town because he had a navy blue Ford Falcon station wagon that he parked right around the corner here. No license plates on it. He didn't need license plates. Everybody knew who he was. So we knew that if the Ford Falcon was here at the airpark, we knew he was probably in Houston. If the Falcon was missing, we knew he was in town somewhere. But I don't think any of these houses with the hangars were here. But my recollection is there were no hangars here. It was just the airstrip. Well, I think I told you I started as an oil well firefighter, and I worked with a fellow named Red Adair. Some people may have heard of Mr. Adair. I knew him quite well. We fought fires all over the world. He lived on the second fairway of the Live Oak Golf Course. Lakeway had the reputation, deservedly I guess, as a good place for international oil people to retire and also military people. Hence the airpark, because I think a lot of the folks that we had here were retired military, retired Air Force, and had their planes here. So,
there's an interesting story about Jack and Myrtle Hamilton. They lived at 104 Flying Scott, which is on the corner across from the airpark. By the back of their house, there's a little plaque on the back of their house. The plaque reads, "Nothing important ever happened here." And in fact, as the airpark grew and as Lakeway grew, people would fly in, but they didn't have a car there. There was no taxi service and there was no telephone. So people naturally walked across the street, knocked on the door of the Hamilton's home, and they became oftentimes the taxi service, oftentimes the telephone answering service, etc.
My dad started volunteering out here when I was a kid. This probably would have been the late 70s, maybe all the way to the early 80s. He kept his planes out here with the condition that he would be the guy that came out when planes would land after dark, or any time in the dark the lights needed to come on, or if there was needed to be fuel accounted for whatever reason. I just knew he was always here to, like, a plane would come in, he would check him in almost like a hotel or something, write down information in a big book, and then write down fuel stuff, turn off the lights, and we'd go back home. I would sit here while the plane came in, because he would, like, they would let him know a plane is coming, so you need to go out and turn the lights on to receive them. So we'd come out here and just wait. He'd turn the lights on, we'd sit here, and eventually a plane would land, and he would write the stuff down in the book, and then do a couple of things, and close the door, turn off the lights, and we'd drive back home.
And when you say lights, were these like full runway lights, or just a light here at the port?
He called them landing lights. Yeah, I mean, there was lights that he turned on so they could land, so I'm assuming that.
Jeff, what's happening today? What are we doing this morning?
Well, we're getting a new historical marker. We had one that was donated, many years ago, probably 20 years ago, by a local resident to commemorate the historical nature of this air park site. It was a ranch back in the 50s and 60s, and it developed into an airport. And then I guess the city got some money, and they decided that we needed a better monument. So we got a real monument now.
And the Heritage Society, are they involved here in the foundation? Are they involved in this?
I believe they are the ones that are doing this, yeah.
Great, cool.
It's a neat deal. It gives us a historical perspective of how things have gone here at the airpark, and it's neat.
Great. Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah.
How did that air coupe behind you come to exist?
Bill had flown for one of those $100 hamburgers somewhere with a friend, and he saw an air coupe up on a building, and he thought, wouldn't that be neat to have at the Lakeway Airpark? And so he, asked the powers that be if it could happen, and he and a friend drove up to Oklahoma, picked it up on a trailer in the back of a pickup truck, and drug it back down here to Lakeway, and proceeded to get it mounted on the stick, as Robert White's little grandson used to say. And that's the story of the air coupe.
And Bonnie, your husband also had the idea of building these quad hangars that we're next to. Tell me about how that started and what that project was like.
Bill had traded up from a 172, which he learned to fly in, to a Tobago, and he didn't want it sitting out in the weather. So he proceeded with permits, getting a builder, selling it as condo units, and he had buyers right away. And Bill just loved to build things. So this was probably his most favorite project that he ever did, were these quad hangars. And he loved them up till the day he died.
What is something that you personally appreciate about the air park itself?
The people. The people are fantastic.
Yeah. And it's like a community, it's like a family of people. And remind me again, Bonnie, when did Bill pass away?
February of 24.
When you were the mayor of Lakeway, was there anything interesting happening with the air park in the city, or was it pretty quiet back then?
Well, it was pretty quiet. We always tried to have a presence on the council for the air park. And once the decision was made that the city was not going to acquire the air park, we had to take up the reins. But somebody kind of had to how to be a big protector here and not run wild on changing things up. So, but we were fortunate. We had, again, good people that pulled together, and in fact, we built this building. It was really a shack and we still call it a shack, but it's not a shack anymore.
What protected the airpark from being shut down or successfully sued?
If somebody complained about something, and if they had a reasonable complaint, we always talked to the people. We had a newsletter list. We put out newsletters and talked about different safety items that we needed to be careful with.
And what do you think about the fact that the Lakeway Airpark is entirely run by volunteers?
Well, that's the crown jewel and it was structured when we set this thing up, or getting it cleaned up. I believe I probably mowed this airpark about 12 times. Old Bobby Ross, the guy that leased Hell Shed, he gave us a Ford tractor a mower. I finally got that thing to work.
I would probably say that it is probably one of the best maintained airports as we travel across the countryside. And what people need to understand, this is a privately owned airport open for public use, and so we receive 0 tax dollars, federal, local, or state. It's operated all on private funds, and so it takes a tremendous army of volunteers to make this place operate.
Well, it's impeccably maintained. The people keep it just as pristine and beautiful as you could expect any beautiful place to be kept. It's almost like a park.
We care about keeping this a class, 4A facility, I'd call it. Okay, we want to be one of the best air parks in the country, not even just Texas.
I think it's the best thing of its type in Texas, and I still don't see any that compete with it.
How did that sign come about?
When we first moved here, the air park had a sign directing people to it, and that it was a jumbo jet 747 on a blue background. And I found that to be much more commercial-like, something you'd see when you go to Austin Bergstrom. So a couple years ago, I worked with our local sign store, Stoke Signs, and we designed a simple green sign with a single engine propeller plane, much like what you see here, that simply said Air Park and had a directional arrow. I just think it's much more representative of the air park, and it fits in with our community and city as a whole.
I don't see a fence, I don't see barbed wire, I don't see a lot of the things you might think of at a traditional airport.
Well, it is. It's very accessible, and it's like I say, it was built in the middle of Lakeway. And Lakeway is proud of their airport because we want people to be able to access the airport, to come around and see it. We want the mothers with their kids to come up and sit at picnic tables and actually watch the airplanes land and take off and talk to pilots. Go over there and talk to them. And most of the pilots are just love to have people look in their airplanes and tell them about it.
And when you moved in, was Lefty Gardner living here?
Not yet. He built a house just north of me and moved into the house down there and had a nice area where he could keep his airplanes close to him at the house and stuff. So he didn't keep them on the ramp. He kept them in his backyard, basically. So it was kind of fun.
And Joe, what kind of airplanes did Lefty keep in his backyard?
Well, he had a Stearman that he flew around, and then he had a P-51 and a P-38. So it was kind of a menagerie of airplanes, but it was, you'd sit at my house and look and see if he was home down there, and he was always ready to show somebody his airplanes and stuff. And we developed a pretty good friendship over the years, and he'd take his airplanes to show them off at air shows and stuff, and he'd always need a ride back. So I'd hop in my airplane and follow him over there and bring him back here. So it was a fun relationship, and of course I got rides in the airplanes too. So that was all parts of it. So that made it fun.
That's great. So he was engaging and personable and neighborly and all that. And obviously he was it goes without saying, but we're making a documentary, so I'll say it. He must have been just a really excellent professional pilot.
He was, and there was some concerns about that with me because I flew in the back seat of the P-51 in an air show, and at one point when we were diving at the ground, I'm thinking, there's no stick back here, and this guy's 20 years older than I am, and if something happens to him, it'll just be a blink and I'll be gone. But he was very good. He was a great pilot.
All right, I'm here today with Lad Gardner, and we're at the Kerrville Municipal Airport. And Lad, what kind of airplane did you just buy that's behind you right now?
This is a North American P-51D model Mustang. I bought it a little over a year ago.
Great, okay.
And we get to Lakeway, and my parents told me, hey, this is where we're going to build a house. We're going to live on this runway. And what a pleasant surprise, because I didn't want to leave as a kid. And when I got there and got to see what a beautiful place, and to be able to live on an airport with that kind of beauty near the lake and the hills and the great people, just an amazing spot.
And do you remember flying in and out of the Lakeway Airpark?
I did. Yeah, I had a Stearman that my dad and I built in Lakeway out of parts. It was an old ag airplane that we built together out of parts. It took us about a year to build it throughout my senior year. And we finished it in my senior year of high school, and I flew it in and out of Lakeway a number of times. Looking back, it was a really great time in my life. And look back at the memories. That's where that was a time frame when I was learning to fly a Stearman with my dad. He taught me to fly in a Stearman, which I couldn't be more grateful for. Obviously, getting to fly this today. Right. Without him, I wouldn't have been inspired to fly these airplanes. But it all happened right there at Lakeway.
And his backyard, I've heard about his backyard. Was it grass? Was it gravel? Asphalt?
Grass. It was all grass.
So he just pulled the P-38 Lightning right up on the
grass. Right up on the grass, yeah.
And parked it. Just turned it off. Took the keys out, went inside.
Yeah, exactly. And he'd bring it over to the ramp. When we had a kind of a open house when we first bought the airport, and he brought the P-38 in, and he came in and he did a low pass and he did a roll and did some other stuff. And then when he came in and parked, he had a hard time parking because he couldn't turn it against the dead engine. But he did all that with one engine. So I mean, it was pretty amazing. Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible.
I've tried to keep myself behind the camera, but I want to tell you about these next two men that you're about to see. It was in 2022 that I was standing in front of this hangar with the Cessna 210, the same model that inspired me in 1980 to become a pilot, when I saw that over there, the airpark's newest resident, pulling out his Bonanza was Rear Admiral Pat Hall, who flew F-14s, F-18s, F-16s, was the captain of one aircraft carrier, and the strike group commander of another, was fixing to build an aerobatic plane to go up and have some fun, when I heard behind me the metal sound of a hangar opening, and I turned and looked over there and saw Lee Finch, U.S. Army veteran, master aviator, Purple Heart recipient, pulling out his L-19 Bird Dog that he had personally restored to museum quality condition, the same model of plane that he had flown in Vietnam, before flying Hueys and then later flying Black Hawk helicopters in Bosnia. And he was on his way up to go have a beautiful day of flying. And I thought to myself, I'm going to make a movie. And when I do, I'm going to tell the story of these two men. so that others will know their service to our country and know a tiny bit of the sacrifice that they and their families have made for the rest of us.
I was born in Phoenix, Arizona in 1943. My dad had fled the Depression in Oklahoma and Texas, and searching for work, he wound up heading west. Didn't make it to California, but he made it to Arizona. I was more or less kind of a juvenile delinquent in Phoenix. I even had my own parole officer, but anyway, I had to ride my bicycle down there. Later on, I went to live with my aunt and uncle on a farm south of Lubbock, Texas. And so that's where I really grew up.
Pat Hall, I've been a Lakeway resident since 2020, just moved here in 2020, so just over 3 years here in Lakeway.
What brought you to Lakeway and specifically to the airpark?
Well, obviously my love of aviation is what brought me here. Also, my love of retiring from working also brought us here.
I joined the Army when fall tuition was due, and I didn't have it in August of '62. And I wasn't the most, I scored real well on tests, but that's not the same thing as being smart.
The reason I went into the Navy, there were a couple of reasons. My grandfather and my father were both in the Navy. My grandfather during World War II, my father in the Vietnam era was in the Navy. I had worked at the airport in Uvalde, Texas. I was putting gas in airplanes in Uvalde, Texas. Always enjoyed aviation, flew with friends who could fly, but quite frankly, I couldn't afford the lessons in flying.
All right, I trained enlisted people there at Fort Sill for about a year, and then went to Korea as a forward observer initially, and then a battery executive officer. The executive officer runs the artillery battery while the commander is busy doing other things, going to meetings, things like that.
My sophomore year, I was reading the school newspaper, and there's a picture of an F-14 Tomcat on it, and the question was, do you want to fly this? And I was like, you know, I always did want to fly. And so the ROTC unit was on campus, and I went over and talked to the executive officer of the ROTC campus, and I said, what do I need to do to be able to fly this airplane? And he goes, well, take this test, and it was a standardized test that's supposed to define your aptitude for flying. I took the test and did really well, and he said, would you like a scholarship? And I said, well, I'd like a scholarship, but I think my dad would really like a scholarship for me. And
he was club boss. So we would open the happy hour about noon on Friday. But so I won't do the whole story. But anyway, one Friday we decided we wanted to fly. Yeah. We wanted to go to Vietnam. So on Monday morning we called up we were Signal Corps by this time.
I said, well, hang on. Let me go talk to the Air Force first. So I went over and talked to the Air Force, and the Air Force said, we like your scores. We can guarantee you a flight school spot in 1982, which is when I was going to graduate. And I said, well, when would that be? And they said, October of 1982. And I go, well, graduation's in May. And they go, yeah. And I said, well, what am I going to do between May and October? And they go, whatever you want to do. And I go, no, I want to start flying now. And so I went back to the Navy, said, okay, I'll take your deal. I'll take my chances.
Because if you have a job with radio communications in the artillery, one day they Omni VOR, you are now in the Signal Corps. So we're in the Signal Corps. So we called, and it's a very small branch, so we called up the Pentagon, and we even knew the lady's name. And said, we want to go to fly school. And she said, well, I can send one of you to airplanes and one of you to helicopters. And really, I let Dennis choose, and I've regretted that all my life. I wanted to go to airplanes. But anyway, I went to helicopter school and went to Vietnam.
I got, I met my wife at the University of Texas. We got married, graduated from the University of Texas. I got commissioned in the United States Navy, and we moved to Pensacola all in about a 2-week period. They gave me a great opportunity. I enjoyed it. It was fun. I was flying the F-16, the A-4, which is an old legacy Navy airplane from the Vietnam era. The F-5, Tiger Shark, was another opportunity there, and we were simulating Russian pilots at that time. They said, you know, you're flying the F-14 Tomcat. We're getting ready to sunset the airplane because it's been around a long time. There's newer technology, the F-18. You've flown the F-16 for a few years, so we know you can fly. We can fly a modern, more modern airplane, and then we'd like you to be the commanding officer of an F-18 squadron. And I said, in a heartbeat. And then I thought, what a great career. You know, I've flown 2 front-end fighters, been in combat, had the opportunity to fly off an aircraft carrier for, you know, over almost 1,000 traps, which is really kind of a milestone, and about 910 is where I'm at. But as I told you, the Navy has their ways of convincing people to stay around, and in my case, they said, we would like you to go to nuclear power school. And then it came time for an aircraft carrier, and I was lucky enough to get the USS Abraham Lincoln in Everett, Washington, just north of Seattle. And so again, 3 years on that ship, deployed with it, took it into the shipyard, turned the whole ship around, and it was wonderful. We got out of that, and I'm now at 28 years in the Navy and thinking, you know, it has been a great career, and I really do want to leave this time. And about 2 weeks before the change of command ceremony we have, I got a call from a senior person in the Navy saying, congratulations, young man. Do you want the good news or the bad news?
And then went to Vietnam as a Huey pilot.
In Vietnam, when you first got to Vietnam, what was the name of your outfit?
199th Light Infantry Brigade. We did everything for ourselves. In the morning, we would take the troops, put them in an LZ, shooting, stuff was going on. And then when some of them got wounded, we'd dust them off. If they were killed, we would pick them up. If they wanted to eat, we would bring them food, et cetera, et cetera. When they needed to relocate, they couldn't hump all of those heavy shells. So we would come pick up all the heavy stuff and reinsert them in another place.
Right.
So that was a day.
It was when you came into those LVs, in or out of them. Did you have experiences where you were under fire?
Oh, sure. Wasn't hit all that much. The only time I was actually wounded was a 122 millimeter trash can rocket. And the next thing I knew, I'd already been deafened by the explosion, but I saw what they call the earth color, oranges and tans and brown. So you jump up. Well, I jump up, but I've been wounded in the chest, but my co-pilot has a piece of shrapnel stuck in his knee. I helped him to a medic. And the medic says, you're not going to die. And even though my friend Rick could not walk, he's not going to die either. So we're out of there. So we go get our helicopter and we go looking for the people that are shooting the rockets.
Right.
And
right.
I'm going to quit that story right there.
And then what year did you start flying black box?
About 91 1. And then I stayed in Blackhawks until I went to Bosnia in 03. We were activated for Bosnia and spent a year over there, and then came back and retired from the Army. Meanwhile, though, I was a Texas game warden, and I was in the Texas Guard as a 1 weekend a month.
Yeah.
Or 2 or 3. And but then I continued as a game warden.
Okay, and that was an aerial. You were flying for the Texas?
I was eventually a chief pilot for Parks 1.
Oh, that.
Congratulations, young man. Do you want the good news or the bad news? And I was like, well, I guess the good news. He goes, you're going to be an admiral in the Navy. And you can only tell your wife and your dog because the Senate hasn't approved it yet. And I said, well, what's the bad news? He goes, I need you in Washington, D.C. in a month. And the reason that was bad news is in my entire career I had avoided Washington, D.C. I just always wanted to be an operator, either in the cockpit or on the bridge of a ship. 2.5 years there, and my last job in the Navy was a strike group commander on the USS Ronald Reagan out of San Diego, and that was a great tour too, and that was the end of it.
And the Army was very good to me, and I stayed in the Army all of my life. And until I eventually retired in 04 when I came back from Bosnia.
You've been in active military service. You've been a helicopter pilot, an aircraft pilot, a game warden, Air National Guard, a journeyman electrician.
Army National Guard.
Army National Guard, thank you. Army National Guard. And an electrician.
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything else that we need to know about you, Levy? So this is getting pretty long.
No, that's pretty much everything. I hope I couldn't bore you with all that.
Clear prop.
Clear.
Clear prop.
Clear prop.
Yeah, we've got a Bonanza, 1990 Bonanza F-33A, which is outside the hangar, and then this airplane that I built, which is our Vans RV-8.
The latest plane I'm heading here at the airport was a Saratoga, Opera Saratoga. Prior to that, I had a Bird Dog and an AT-6.
RV-10.
And how long you been working on this plane?
A year.
All right. And what stage are you at now? What do you have left to do?
About 90% done. It's the last little wiring of the panel, installing the panel, and a few other things with the antenna.
Actually, this is a Beechcraft Bonanza Debonair it's a 1960. It's on its second paint job, third engine, second instrument panel, third interior. I've put about 2,500 hours on it so far, and our daughter Sydney also flew it when she was more active in aviation.
It's a 1946 Piper PA-12. It's a super cruiser. It's a big brother to the Super Cub. So this airplane does not fly particularly fast. In fact, today I was flying. I had a bass boat pass me up.
We own together. There's 4 guys that decided to come together, and we all have similar missions. We're all family guys, and the 182 just fit our needs perfectly.
This is a 2005 Cirrus SR22. It's got about 1,900 hours total time on it, and some upgrades on it as well. It's a really great airplane. It does have a parachute in it for safety that you can utilize about 500 feet above the ground. 167 knot cruising speed, that's pretty impressive. And also impressive is its range. You can keep it in the air for about 5 hours.
Okay, this is a Bonanza V35B, built in 1977, and she's a great bird, does a good job, and gets us cross country quite well.
So this is a 2008 G36 Bonanza, and it's actually turbo normalized and came with the tips, but we've really enjoyed it. We've had this plane for a little over a year, maybe a year and a half.
With it. It's a 1981 Beechcraft Bonanza F-33A, and it'll cruise about 167 knots.
I bought this airplane 14 years ago,
It's my third 310. It's a 74Q.
Okay.
And it's got about 4,300 total time.
I went and picked a buddy up from Baton Rouge one evening, and then when we were flying back here to Austin, we were chasing the sunset. And so that sunset went from what's typically, I don't know, 30 or 45 minute sunset to an hour and 45, 2-hour sunset. So that was probably one of the coolest experiences, was just watching an everlasting sunset.
This is my new airplane. We've only had this a couple, 3 years. This is a Columbia. It's an orphan. It was made by Columbia, and it's a 2004 model.
It's the first plane I've really had that's a good traveling machine, so it's really handy for going across country. And
my wife loves it because it has air conditioning and it has door seals, so everything is much, much quieter.
Used it to go up to Glacier National Park. That's some beautiful scenery up that part of the country.
Actually, I love flying it. If it was faster, I think the Columbia would have never showed up.
One thing that I like about it, it's hard to fly.
Okay, you enjoy that?
I do enjoy the challenge. I flew, Army Black Hawks and Hueys in Vietnam and Little Bird, what we call Little Birds, with the Gatling gun over here on the side. And so life was a challenge, but there was a great deal of pride. Some people say pride's not good, but I think it is. And duty, honor, country, and pride in your work.
Discovered this wonderful 1957 Cessna 172. I just had to get my hands on it and see how I could fly it. One of 4 owners on this aircraft. We are using 96 Bravo as a fractional ownership airplane where we can help democratize access to aviation in our community.
Well, I'm a little bit unique because I didn't get my pilot's license till I was 60 years old. And I got it because I have always had a love for flying, and my dad was a pilot, my husband's a pilot.
This is a Pulsar 3. It was originally designed by a gentleman in San Antonio, Mark Brown, and I'm not going to tell you how long I've been building it because it's been a ridiculously long time. The reason I like this particular airplane is that on 85 horsepower I'll cruise around about 145, 150 miles an hour. It's a all fiberglass airplane except for the spar has got a large aluminum plate right in the middle of it. All I have to do at this point in time is get the engine on, get the cowl fit, put a prop on it, and paint it.
This airplane is a 1929 Fleet Model 2. This airplane is the actual airplane that my father learned to fly in 1934. It's taken me 7 years to get it to this point, and right now I'm waiting for the engine to be done, and that's the last thing. And if you look at it, everything's there but the engine. And the engine's in Fort Worth, it's almost done. I chased it for 25 years, calling the guy every 6 months, and he finally sold it to me. And my father's ashes are actually in the control stick of both cockpits of this airplane, so he lives on.
And when was this airplane built?
This was actually born September 9th of 1929 in Buffalo, New York. It was actually given to me by all of my stunt guys when I was doing the movie Guardians of the Galaxy 2 as a wrap gift. Because at the time, I just bought a new house in California, I couldn't afford it. And after chasing it for 25 years, it broke my heart to say, I just can't do it. And my son and all the guys got together and they got the money together and gave it to me as a gift. And it couldn't have been a better gift that I ever got. My other plane is a 1946 Piper PA-12 Super Cruiser. This airplane was first built in 1946 after the Second World War. And this could fit 2 people in the back. Small people, not big people like me, but 1 guy in the front, 2 in the back, and that's what it was designed for. And they made about 2,500 of them. And this airplane, it won Best in Category at Fun and Sun in 2010.
And tell us about the Flying H on the back.
The Flying H is my family symbol. It was drawn by my grandfather in 1915. He had the Flying H Ranch in California.
I called a neighbor, Bill Gunn, and said, Bill, I had been looking at building an RV-8. And he says, you know what? He goes, that's the closest you'll ever get to an F-18 in general aviation. And and I just started laughing because Bill hadn't flown an F-8, he'd flown an F-4, but I had flown an F-18.
Yeah.
And he goes, that thing is just, it's incredible. He goes, yeah, and I went, really? And I blame him, and I've told him that, I blame him for me building this particular airplane.
Tell me about this paint job here.
So this paint job was, I didn't want to go with a military theme per se, so I actually worked with the designer to kind of say, what do I like in paint? I like the gray instead of white. I like checkerboards. I didn't like a lot of swoops, so you can see there's just one arrow going down that's consistent on the side. It included the canopy frame, if you will, and I just wanted something simple. I was actually going to paint it myself, and then it was a bridge too far. After the fiberglass work to kick my butt, I didn't want to do the painting, so I had somebody else do it.
One, two, three, four.
Tell us a little bit about what was happening just financially with the airpark.
When I moved here, the Lakeway Corporation owned the airpark, and they had actually had two people that manned the airport and pumped fuel, sold fuel, and collected the fees and the landing fees, because they required you to pay a landing fee in the early days if you didn't live on the airport. And somehow we heard that the Lakeway Corporation had run out of properties. They had all the property of Lakeway, and they were selling off the lots, and so they were running out of property, and they were not making enough money to maintain, and they were talking about going bankrupt. And that was a concern for the people, the 8 or 10 of us that lived on the airport, because that was they had talked about just redeveloping, taking up the runway and redeveloping the airport, which would have been catastrophic to some of us that were living here.
In the long term, I'm so glad that Benson, our city manager in 1995, that the old Lakeway company wanted to give the airport to the city, because he could see a liability problem. So he was well aware of what it would mean from time to time that would overcome the city's ability to do.
So then we found out that the Hillwood group, which is part of the Perot group, was looking to purchase it. So then I decided that I'd talk to them, and you know, it's one of the things that I've learned to do over life is if you just talk to people, sometimes they'll work with you on things. And we talked to them, and
negotiated a purchase. And so at that point in time, there was about 10 or 15 of us that got together. We put a little money in the pot, and I actually bought the airport itself from the Hillwood Group, and donated it and started Lakeway Airpark Incorporated. And then we own the airport. They're running at about an $88,000 a year loss when Lakeway Company had it. And so we decided that we'd find out about putting in a self-serve fuel pump. You know, that was starting to come about. Everything was starting to happen around. So we wound up, I talked to one of the fuel suppliers, and he says, well, I'll make you a deal. He said, if you'll let me, I'll put in the fuel pump and all the stuff, and you just pay me at a nickel a gallon. So for every gallon you sell, I'll get a nickel of it. So we made that deal, and it was a great deal.
And that day, I'm sure you remember that day when the newly formed Lakeway Airpark Corporation took control of the airport, took ownership of the airport for $10. Who paid the $10?
Well, I actually paid the $10, so I really have ownership, even today.
Well, just having an air park right in the middle is so different than many other communities across the state and even across our nation. To have a private air park where airplanes can come in and enhance our quality of life. We have tourists come in and utilize and enjoy the amenities in the area, the golf courses, the lake. And it's just a true enhancement of our quality of life in Lakeway.
Initially moving into Lakeway, the air park for us was a place where we would walk and enjoy watching planes take off and land with the kids, and is not something that you can do really anywhere else outside of a smaller air park such as the Lakeway Airpark.
I think it's just a very nice, unique benefit to the community to have an air park. Not every community has one. It's something that kind of sets Lakeway apart from a lot of other communities. Also from a safety perspective, I really like having an air park because in the event that something big were to happen, you know, it could be used by Lake Travis Fire Rescue, the county, the state, as a triage area. Oh, you know, I hope the air park continues to stay a vibrant part of the community. I love attending a lot of the events that happen there. I'd love to see more events happen there. I believe it's a very a respectful relationship between the air park and the community. I think the community really appreciates that.
Yeah, I think it's amazing how it fits in, honestly, because when you think about an air park, I don't think anyone would think that it could fit in a city like Lakeway without being an eyesore of some kind. It's very natural in appearance, and you really don't know it's here unless you happen to drive by it. And it's really nestled in, you know, in the back of old Lakeway. And like I said, I think the air park's done a great job of promoting the air park. I don't think everyone even knew that the air park existed if you lived on the outskirts of Lakeway and not in the heart of Lakeway. So I think it fits in perfectly, and it's gorgeous. The entire area is a beautiful part of Lakeway.
And I see the air park as one of those treasures. So I think the air park does a wonderful job of focusing on safety, and so I appreciate the air park paying attention to that and assuring that those things are followed.
Everybody's very friendly.
Yeah.
Right? It's really easy to get in and out of, and it's incredibly convenient to Central Texas.
The airpark.
I love the fact the camaraderie down here, and just like the people walk by.
Yeah.
And it's everybody's friendly.
Like it's just a small community. It's super close to where I live, and there's a ton of people here who love to go flying and love showing their passion for aviation.
Lakeway is one of the nicest, tight community of aviation enthusiasts, but in a great expanded community. You know, beautiful part of Texas. It really is one of the friendliest little airports you can fly in.
Everything. It is just a home away from home, and the people here are friendly, and it's a family.
What I like about the Lakeway Airport is the people. The people are the heart and soul of this airport. Not just the pilots, but the people who live around the airport, that support the airport.
I would say that in the 20 years being here, the friendships that I've actually chiseled with all the great pilots in the great community, for sure, is the fellowship is by far the best.
Yeah. I like to hear that, I love to hear that props rev up and start growling before people take off, come down. It takes me back to my childhood. But I mean, I just like that it's here because not every neighborhood has one.
It's a lot of fun. It's given us something to do together, and we can, you know, when we go to Houston, we can go see our grandkids in 45 minutes rather than a 3-hour drive.
Oh, I like airplanes. So just being around the planes, watching them take off.
It was always, I think like most pilots, it's always kind of a dream to live on an air park where you don't have to leave the house to go, you know, maintain your plane or get in your plane and go somewhere.
I think every kid who grows up looking at aviation, looking at pilots and planes, dreams of having a plane, and this was certainly my dream growing up here in Oak Hill, just a few miles down the road.
So many mothers and fathers that bring their little children out here just to watch the airplanes, and the joy and the enthusiasm for the flying, and all of those little people want to be pilots when they grow up.
But we're so blessed because community in Lakeway is unbelievable. We are part of 2 communities. We have Blue Jay Drive right here, which is, we know all of our neighbors. Then we turn around our backyard, we have this whole air park. Everyone has that lives around the air park.
The open houses and movie nights. I like getting to know a lot of the other pilots on the air park, and kind of coming together and making this a great place to get to know other people and fly.
It's just become a more welcoming place to the community, and I think the community, a lot of the people that lived in Lakeway originally lived in Rough Hollow or some of the Serene Hills and some of the other areas of Lakeway, Flint Rock, really didn't even realize there was an airport here. And I think that now that we've gotten more of a presence on social media, it's really taken off, and I think it's done a lot of good for the airport and for the community.
Every day that I open my hangar door, somebody comes by.
Well, it's just fun to be on the runway and watch the airplanes take off, you know, going back and forth.
I am in awe of our neighbors. We have the best group of people here. These guys have all accomplished great things in their life. They've got great kids, but we have admirals, we have generals, we have lots of colonels, and we have some of us that didn't make anything but a second lieutenant.
We've settled in now for 10 years. I don't think we'll ever leave.
And there's always something going on here. We just enjoy being at the middle of the field and watching all the drama that takes place every day.
Well, I think it is, like Pat said, a good mix of people who all have shared hobbies. And we live in the middle, so we get to see every landing and every takeoff. So I have great entertainment when I'm in the kitchen cooking.
Just the ability for children to experience it, grown adults to experience it, get involved with pilots and communities all as one. It's just pretty neat being able to fly in and out and everybody have an appreciation for airplanes.
Live the dream. If you're interested, come on out here. We'll find somebody to talk to you, possibly give you a ride in an airplane.
We love the Lakeway Airpark.
Ross Perot Jr. sold the airpark in 1995 for $10.
The airpark is a 501c4.
We're a not-for-profit corporation.
The airpark is open to sunrise to sunset.
Safety is job one at the airpark.
No hot refueling.
The board has open meetings once a month.
RCTF is 123.00. The runway is 4,000 feet long.
The airpark is twice as safe as the national average.
Lakeway Airpark elevation is 909 feet.
We have an RNAV approach to runway 16.
We are self-funded. Our airport is 12 at sunset.
Watch out for the deer.
Stay away from the propeller.
We love it when you visit.
Come say hi.
What do you think are the benefits of the airpark to Lakeway, to the city of Lakeway?
Oh, it's tremendous. It's an emergency airport for any kind of a evacuation that has to be done. We've had some emergencies come in here, you know, the Star Flight and fire suppression aircraft come in here.
It brings commerce into the city. It brings developers who come in and out of here, business people, vacationers as well, and it really provides, you know, a unique setting, okay, that not a lot of cities have.
I think one of the other interesting things that we do are the angel flights. We have a lot of pilots that'll volunteer their time and their aircraft to fly over to MD Anderson and help people with their treatments.
What do you think is the importance of aviation in general for the United States?
Well, it's an important sport activity and really growing our younger interest in flying for the airlines. So we've got to maintain that. We've got to have a steady flow of these type people because aviation is not going to go away in this country.
But in 1986, with his inspiration, I rode my bicycle down here and I soloed at Lakeway Airpark, and it started a career that now I fly an MD-11 all the way to China on a weekly basis.
And the utility and the benefit of being able to fly somewhere on your own and there'll be an airport near is absolutely incredible.
Well, aviation is, yes, it creates freedom. And I think that's very special here. We don't find that when we travel to other countries. You know, it's not so easy to just go rent an airplane, hop in and go somewhere.
Someone had put up a comparison of the railroad lines in the United States versus Europe. And of course, Europe is just crisscrossed and hash marked with railway lines, and we don't have that many. We have a few long range ones. So when they put that up, they said, here's how you compare Europe to the United States in terms of transportation. And I said, now do airports.
Right.
Every town in America has an airport.
Right, that's right.
I like the freedom of it. I think it's a great way to get around, experience the land and everything around you from a different perspective.
What kind of contribution does the airpark play for the local economy?
Well, I think it probably makes millions of dollars a year difference in our economy, just because there's a lot of people that come in here, they vacation here, they come in to eat, and they come in here to visit neighbors and stuff. They buy rooms at the hotels, they eat at our restaurants. There's businesses that are run out of here where they're actually, the business people are flying in and out all the time. So it's made a significant economic impact on the community, I think.
And then here's our midfield windsock. Looks like it has a hornet's nest in it. And over here is our weather station. So it's got a rain sensor, that little cup, and then the thing on the bottom with all the rings around it is actually the temperature sensor. And then up on top you got the anemometer, which measures wind speed and direction. There are no runway lights here, and being in a suburban neighborhood that likes dark skies, it is very, very dark here at night. So. What we call the shack.
There's the shack. Library.
Thought it'd be nice to have a lending library, which kind of keep it aviation focused. So we got a 10,000 gallon tank underground. So over here is the fuel system. The fuel comes underground with a suction line up to the pump. Fuel hose.
Scott, what are we going to do right now?
We are going to basically walk the runway to check for any debris that may be on the runway. You the Steadicam operator?
Steadicam Cobb.
Get some more drag. Hey Josh.
How are you, Steve?
Good.
What are you doing this morning?
We're doing a FOD walk.
Airplane parts?
Little tiny things that might have screw or something that might have vibrated loose.
I heard we have like a jar in the
We
shack.
do. We got a jar. So if you need any parts, come on by.
Okay, awesome. Andy, what'd you find?
Found a piece of safety wire.
Piece of safety wire. Let's get a close-up of that. Wow, interesting. And we don't know where that came from. We assume it came from a plane, but it could be a lawnmower.
Yeah.
Steve, what's the most interesting thing you found on the runway?
I'd say like a bolt that came out of a wheel pan on a airplane.
Okay.
Probably the most interesting.
You haven't found like a piston or?
No, that's a little large.
How often do we do FOD walks?
Yeah, at least once a month.
Yeah.
But Pat Hall's out here all the time since he lives on the runway and he's the president. He likes to come down and just check it out every once in a while.
Mr. Pat Hall, what are you up to this morning?
Hi Josh, how are you?
You guys finished already with the FOD walk down there?
We did, yeah. We were a lot more efficient than these guys.
Most interesting thing I found there at the end of the runway was a battery charger.
A battery
charger.
It was on the wing of an airplane of a friend of mine who taxied out with it sitting on the wing and fell off the wing, and when he turned around and hit it with his wheel pants and broke his wheel pant. It was flyable, but it was cracked. And he was so angry he got out and he threw that thing into the brush.
Wow.
And later I went and got it and straightened it out, and I now have it at home and it works great.
And we had got a little board meeting going on here in about another 10-15 minutes.
And where do we do the board meeting?
We do it here in the pilot shack.
Nice.
That we've set up.
Any controversial issues today?
Not that I'm aware of. There's always got to be something we got to chat about.
Yeah.
All right, let's call to order the 9:30 Lakeway Airpark board meeting.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a very good board, right now. Mostly businessmen, okay, that understand, okay, how to manage dollars. We want to be very good stewards of the monies that we pull together. It takes a lot to run the airpark. We don't get any pay for that. A lot of volunteer work comes along with it, but it's key that we have the dollars in the future to be able to do the capital improvements and the maintenance that we know we're going to have to do, and just being good stewards of that and good stewards of the community.
What is the reason he's here at the airport?
It's just his favorite place. This is where he wanted to have his birthday party.
Oh my gosh, awesome. Is he having a good time?
He's having the best day ever.
Hey buddy, how are you? Scott, tell us what's going on today. What's happening?
Oh, we've got a national night out. Probably expecting 50 to 60 people, which would include neighbors of the neighborhood, and also members of the airport here.
Right.
And looks like it's a good time. We've got quite a few people. We've got airplanes, we've got golf carts, we've got friends. How much better can it be?
Well, the king
morning. I'm sitting here wishing, dear, I had your love again.
Mountains, to the prairies, to the ocean, white with foam. God bless America, my own sweet home. God bless America, my own sweet home. Let's do one.
Nothing left to hide. I put a little color on and turn my wings to the side. The flight keeps getting caught like the throttle and the stick. I shake it off and smile, but the engine's coughing spits. Fly it hard, turn it straight, don't let the turbulence decide. I've been upside down and burning, still I want my good side. Show me your good side, show me your best side. I'm not made of weakness, I can take the flight. Show me your good side, show me your best side. If the flying gets fast, hold me in your sight. There's a landing on the runway where I flare too close, trying to look top gun like that means I'm close. I kept a putter in my sight next to a flight line marker. Now I'm screaming in the cockpit, learning what it means to fly. Fly it fast, turn it straight, don't let the fear decide. I've been bruised and burning, still I want my good side. Show me your good side, show me your best side. I'm not made of weakness, I can take the flight. Show me your good side.
What is something that you wish for the airpark in the future?
Well, I'd like for it to remain a community asset that the people around the airport socially and financially support. And I'd like for it to be known as a good asset all over the country.
Well, I hope it continues its heritage of being a safe and profitable operation and service to the community of Lakeway.
I wish it to continue to be, as it is, a well-run, safe place to fly.
I really like the idea of the community and the kids being involved. And when I say kids, I mean anyone under 30, you know, coming in to hopefully be aviators.
I would hope it just continues to do extremely well and thrive, and more people can come and enjoy it, because like I said, it's a little slice of heaven with a, you know, not many places get to have an airport in such a beautiful place and get to merge all those qualities together.
I would welcome the airport becoming more known across the state of Texas.
Continue to be welcoming to our transit pilots that come and go through here or traveling across country. And just the fact that, you know, when someone comes in and hasn't seen the airport before, I want them to leave thinking, wow, that's a great place. And gee, I wish I could live there.
That it continue to run and operate as a community, not as a business. I've seen airparks where they weren't well run, and I've seen airparks that were very well run. And as long as we run this place well, it'll be here for the next, 3 or 4 generations.
Right now, if you ask people that have flown in here, they will tell you that it's the nicest airport they've ever been in most cases. So, especially in Texas. So it's a neat place, and I'd just like for it to stay that way.
Let it show. There's a tide in us, you know. This love is all around us, all around us. This love is all around us, and it's growing. So if you truly need me, come on and let me know. This love is all around us, and it won't let go. I feel it in the wind, I sense it in the air. From the hiding clouds above us, that special spark, that glowing light, that's reminding us all of you. When you climb into the sky, and we remember who you are, we don't have to chase it, we already know. So if you need me, say it plain, I'm right here, I'll stay. Let it rise, let it show. There's a tide in us, you know. This love is all around us, all around us. This love is all around us, and it's growing. So if you truly need me, come on and let me know. This love is all around us, and it won't let go. Under every hard day, under every storm, there's a place we keep alive, where we can both be one warm, one breath, one sign, then the whole world changes in your eyes. This love is all around us, all around us. This love is all. I've seen a lot of places, I've been around the world, I've seen some pretty faces, been with some beautiful girls. After all I've witnessed, one thing still amazes me. Just like a miracle, Texas has a hold on me. When the sun rises over you, everything gets still. My mind forgets what to do, my heart won't keep itself still. And I try to play it cool, but you pull me in like a prayer I never knew I need again. Like a miracle, Texas changed my whole world. Like a miracle, she's my beautiful girl. Every time you smile, I believe it again. Like a miracle, Texas got me in the end. I thought I knew love, I thought I knew pain, I thought I knew pain, I thought I knew pain. I thought I'd seen enough to call it by name. But Texas came so gentle, and you stayed so true. Now all those miles
And now, preview time. When it comes to entertainment, you can't beat a good film. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
At a sleepy Texas airfield, the biggest thrill was the Sunday pancake fly-in. Until tonight.
So Cessna, pal. It's landing.
Straight from the stars on final
hour, we got ourselves a situation.
Arrival at the airpark.
It ain't one of ours. She ain't even got a propeller.
Now, under the Lone Star Night, the strangers descend still closer.
They're taking the boys. Hold your hats, everybody. It's got me. Somebody call the Air Force.
Two brave pilots whisked away north of top, but help arrives on whirring blades.
Here comes the chopper.
A lone cavalryman of the skies opens fire.
Light it up, boys.
Tracers spark.
I told you, Gus. Them things is real.
Seconds from now, world ends. Not on my runway.
20 seconds. It's under the runway.
Not while I'm breathing.
That's insane! He's on a cable? I don't even see an anchor point! Get down here. 13 seconds. We can't stop this if he misses. It's dropping fast. He's got maybe 10 seconds by the time he hits it. I'm moving. 12, you hear me? 12! Ryan.
You won't make it in time.
He will.
15.
Stop.
You at the hatch. 5 seconds. Talk to me.
Red leaps the trigger, yellow's the failsafe. Cut wrong, we all go with it. 5 seconds! You know what to do.
No more time. Done.
What are you doing?
You know what I need right now? Queso. In a place where planes rarely land, love is about to take off.
You're out here in the heat for him? It's the only flight I want to catch.
From the far side of the runway to the fields where the wind keeps its secrets.
Look at that.
They're headed home.
Feels like we are too.
Stay right here with me. Sometimes the end of the runway is just the start of forever.
Clara! Don't go.
I didn't know love could feel like this.
Me neither. I didn't think you'd come.
I couldn't stay away.
Just stay right here.
Always. Ready for our sky.
With you, always.
When love finds its wings, the horizon is only the beginning.